Hello and welcome to Talk a Game, where it is just finished Manchester United 2, West Ham United 1. Gio and Gonzo yet again absent, but you have Charlie and young Tom here to give you all of the lowdown from what has just happened at Old Trafford. We started off very positively, actually going for it, gunning for it for once, in a strange turn of events. And then just before we know it, Anderson puts the ball in the net. Ball came across, Chicha heads it down. Anderson puts it in the net, but it was offside. Or was it? Young Tom, what do you think about the first opportunity?
I think we'll get onto the officiating later on in the game. But clearly, as the replay showed, Diego Dallo was playing Anderson onside. And yeah, the goal should have stood. And yeah, again, I won't get into the officiating too much because I guess we'll do that later on. But no, that first goal was clearly onside, and we should have been 1-0 up.
We will definitely get onto it. It's obviously a big talking point from the game. I usually tend to err on the sides of supporting the officials in situations where it was that tight, mainly because the game flows so quickly. And let's be real, they're not helped by the lack of VAR and stuff. However, it unbelievably tight. The fact that it doesn't go our way, I think is massively unlucky, I should say. And then almost straight after, a little bit of time goes by, Matters on the edge of the box and gets brought down by Snodgrass, who slides in from behind. And all of a sudden, Manchester United have a penalty, which Pogba subsequently puts away. Again, more questions raised. Tom, was it a penalty?
No, it wasn't. If anything, I think it was close to being a free kick. It was right on the edge of the box. I think it's just two players going for the ball. And I think the referees bottled that decision. And again, obviously, it's another officiating talking point, so we'll get onto that. But just once again, for me, it wasn't a penalty. And United then go 1-0 up. You know, Pogba does his stupid little daft run up and slots it home, and nothing Fabianski could do about it, as he did take two good penalties today. But yeah, it was 1-0 United, and it just thought at that point, you know, it was going to be a long old afternoon, especially if the officials were against us, and you know, United were getting the rub of the green.
It's frustrating when you go down purely to officiating decisions. The first one could have gone either way. This one equally, again, could have gone either way. I've seen people argue that it wasn't a penalty at all. I've seen people arguing that it should have been a free kick and not a penalty. It's frustrating. And I think my concern at that point was that if Man United were to go ahead, we've been so positive, but that I'm so used to seeing us shrivel after a goal goes in against us, even if we do start positively, which we did today, which is unlike us usually. And so when they got that goal, I was a bit concerned about that. And the play after that, I think, showed slightly what I was talking about. Man United started to get a bit more into the game. I thought they had a bit more luck down the wings after that. We saw a lot of opportunities where they were countering down the wings as opposed to trying to play through the centre, because I don't think they had much joy in the centre at all, unless it was a long ball. And the concerns were slightly creeping in, but I thought up until the half-time whistle, I thought we remained in it. I thought we played very well. At one point, we saw Lingard square up to Ogbona's big, round, beautiful dome, and it didn't go well for him. But I thought at half-time, you could make the argument, at least, that we were unlucky to be 1-0 down. What did you think?
No, I thought we were the better team throughout the game. I thought we dominated them at times in possession, going forward, counter-attacks. I thought we actually somehow won the battle in midfield. I thought Pogba was awful. I've just seen that he was awarded man of the match from BT Sport, which I think is an absolute joke, just for the fact that he scored 2 goals. I'm sure McManaman had a hand in that, because he also said how unlucky it was for West Ham was the first thing he said, even though the goal, we didn't take we have to take our chances. Well, we did, but it was offside apparently, even though it was onside. So, you know, it is frustrating because, again, to go in at 1-0 at half-time is exactly like the Chelsea game the other day, and you expected us hopefully just to come out the same, and we did. And, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I was just deflated at half-time because I thought, you know, everything that we were doing was just going to end up going against us, and I didn't see us, you know, getting back into the game, potentially, you know, with the way that the officials were. But, you know, half-time 1-0, there was still something to fight for, and obviously we showed that in the second half.
Yeah, it's difficult not to feel deflated when the decisions have gone against you in the way they did. Again, I'm someone who usually errs on the side of supporting the officials, even if I disagree with their decisions. But it is incredibly difficult not to feel hard done by, given how well we played in that first half. that we probably, should have at least been level. Second half starts, and then Man United instantly get a chance, but Lukaku, strangely for him against us, fluffed his lines and did something, I don't even know what he did. He just sort of lost to the ball. And then we went up the other end. De Gea got a chance. De Gea collects it, tries to throw it out. Rice with the interception, plays it to Snodgrass. Snodgrass out to Lanzini, who I think plays possibly the ball of the entire game. The cross here was absolutely exquisite. Couple of step overs, puts it into the perfect space. Like Anderson slides it into the net. His first goal of 2019. What do you think of the goal?
I thought it was fantastic. Obviously, it was a mental error from De Gea. Declan Rice did well, picks it off. Lanzini's come under a lot of criticism in the last few weeks, and I defended him against, in the Chelsea game. I've said for a long time that is, like Gio said as well, this is his pre-season at the minute. He's not had as much time as anybody else. He's had a quick turnaround from coming back from his ACL tear, and I thought first half he looked out of sorts. We both mentioned during the game, we were watching it together, that there was a couple of wayward passes and it just didn't look like he was growing into the game at all. But for that short first stint in the second half, I thought he was absolutely excellent. I thought he looked like the Manuel Lanzini of old. Such a shame that he went down with a groin injury, because he was our best player, arguably, at that point in the second half. Just for those 15 minutes, he picks out a sublime ball to the back post, which, it's the vision to see Anderson coming in there. And Anderson coolly finished it off. And like you rightly said, it's his first game in 2019. It was nice to see him get back on the score sheet. I thought it was his best game for us since Christmas, because, again, we both sort of argued that, in the Chelsea review, that he just hasn't been himself lately, and he's, missed out on criticism from the fans. But I thought that, he took his chance well, and, he grew in confidence. And I thought he was one of our better players on the pitch today.
Yeah, as did I. And I think it was massively... It was sad to see him go down with the groin injury slightly later on, because he had played so well up to that point. And that goal, I think, should largely go down to two people. Him and Anderson, obviously. I think Declan Rice as well for the interception. But the ability was Lanzini of old, like you say. The drop of the shoulder, the couple little step overs, and then the placement of the cross as well. Not to put it on Anderson's head, not to put it at Anderson's feet, but to put it ahead of him so he can move onto it and put it so close to where De Gea was. Close enough to where De Gea feels like he should come, but he can't because the ball's coming across. Perfect from Lanzini, it really was. And an excellent finish from Anderson, who, again, I think had a very good game today. Rashford then came on for Mata as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looked to go very attacking. He made a lot of substitutions to really go for it. Smalling somehow wobbled his way forward, got a through ball through to Rashford just after he came on, who from a tight angle forced a very, very good save from Fabianski, I thought.
Unbelievable save. And to be honest with you, the fact that he was able to, I know you, sorry, you didn't ask a question there, but no, it just, to get down that low to save that quickly, it was a fantastic through ball. Rashford really did change the game at that point, and my word, what a save from Fabianski. Just still, for me, my hammer of the year. Anyway, carry on.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. We do things differently when we're not under the control.
It's anarchy. The lunatics have taken over the asylum, as it were. We are in control. Lanzini then went down with his groin injury, and Diangana came on. Just a quick question, this one. Do you think it was the right decision to bring Diangana on? Would you prefer to see Holland or Antonio in that role? What was your thoughts on that substitution specifically?
At that point in the game, I don't think you can bring Holland on. Not he doesn't deserve a chance to play, but I think because we were obviously in the ascendancy in that point, he needs to come on. And Antonio clearly wasn't fit enough for the full sort of last half an hour, so obviously he decided to bring Diangana on. I love Diangana when he's played. I just think that sometimes he's too, he's too left-footed, and it sometimes hinders him the ability to be able to, especially when he's playing down the right. If he drives to the, towards the corner flag, he can't whip a ball in. He always has to cut back in on his left, and it's almost too easy to pick out as a United defender. It'll be in the scouting report that you can't do that. So no, he always brings that sort of energetic pace when he comes on, and it was again, I thought he played well when he did come on.
Antonio did end up coming on in the 72nd minute for Hernandez. There was obviously a lot of talk, we spoke about it previously, about who should play up front. His hand ended up getting forced. Pellegrini's hand ended up getting forced because we only had one striker in the entire squad today. What did you make of Hernandez's performance?
It was hit and miss, really, because obviously from a sort of naked eye perspective, you would say, what's he really done? But obviously that first goal that should have been given, he had a beautiful knockdown into Anderson, and I guess you could say his hold-up play was all right. We expected that he wasn't going to get much service today, and it turned out he didn't really have the right rub of the green, didn't get the chances that he needed. But I think it was an assured performance. It was, I guess if you know your striker's not going to be scoring, to be able to just hold the ball up and pass and move, and not throw your hands and strop around like Arnautovic does was all he needed to do today. But it was the right decision to bring him off, and obviously a good tactical one from Pellegrini, because obviously we know that Antonio went on to play a blinding 20 minutes.
Yeah, I get, like I said, I think his hand was forced about who he started. I think Hernandez had an unremarkable game. I don't think he was bad. I don't think he outwardly played brilliantly either. I think, given the way we played and the setup we started with, I was a bit concerned he was going to get isolated, and I guess that kind of happened at times, but we didn't really play the ball to him that much anyway. But like you say, Antonio came on and did surprisingly well. There was a period here at this point where we had a lot of substitutions. Man United made some, going, again, even more attacking. Rojo, who was playing left back today because of that fullback crisis, came off along with Lukaku for Greenwood and Pereira, and Man United really trying to gun for the win. They needed this win. They wanted it badly. And then Fredericks came on for Zabaleta. Again, a lot of conversation about that right-back position. What did you think of specifically Zabaleta's performance?
I thought he was fantastic. I said on the preview I hoped he would start, and there was so many times today where defensively he would just he doesn't have the pace. We said that he doesn't have the pace that Fredericks possesses, but he does have it mentally up here. His defensive side of the game is fantastic. Obviously we said through the game it would be amazing to have him in his prime, because I can only imagine how good he was for Man City in those sort of in their heyday where they were winning titles under Mancini and Pellegrini. So I thought he was brilliant today. Obviously, he was apparently on commentary. They were saying that he struggled around. He was sort of, I don't know, he was struggling maybe with the pace of the game. 75 minutes he needed to come off. But, Fredericks' decision to bring him on, fair enough. But obviously his, mistake ended up costing us. But, I'm sure we'll get onto that in a second.
We will, and the substitutions started this period of busyness. There was a lot of opportunities and a lot of back and forth, a lot of end-to-end stuff, and it ended up being sort of the deciding of the game. Antonio wobbled through on the 76th minute. Again, Tom keeps alluding, we watched the game together, and neither of us were saying shoot. We were both saying please pass, look up, pass, and he unleashed an absolute rocket with his left foot, which was, I want to say unfortunate, doesn't go in, but I don't think anything. I think if anything, when he scores, it's fortunate that it went in, given it's Antonio with his weak foot. But fair play to him. And then again, straight after that, 77 minutes, great counter attack. Antonio was unleashed down the left. He sprinted through again. We're both screaming, look up, pass, pass. He plays the ball across, goes slightly behind Diangana, who manages to collect the ball, plays it back across. Antonio does an absolutely brilliant header, gets up ridiculously high, Enner Valencia style height on that jump, nods it down, bounces back up, and De Gea with an absolutely unbelievable save, to be fair to him, to claw that out, stop it from going in. That was it. And then again, straight up the other end, 2 minutes later, 79 minutes, Rashford back heels it through to Martial. Arguments for whether or not you can make the argument for offside. We're going to talk about the officiating in just a second. He's through one-on-one on goal, Martial. Fredericks from behind attempts a slide tackle, completely messes it up. Penalty. I think no argument on the actual penalty side.
Oh, no.
Before we get to Pogba ends up putting it away anyway with a great penalty. But Tom, do you believe that Martial was offside?
Yes.
And actually, talk about the officiating as well. This is the time to talk about it.
Yeah. First of all, unreal save from David De Gea. Antonio, I think it was at Cardiff when he had a shot from the same sort of area, and it ended up going like 50 foot over the bar. And I was screaming, just do not shoot, do not shoot. So, he did that fantastically well. But De Gea, what a save, best goalkeeper in the world by a country mile. Anyway, on to the goal. Yeah, I think that Rashford flicked it on. Obviously, some people will debate and argue that. I believe he did flick it on. And you can clearly see that Martial, when he's in possession of the ball, when he receives the ball, he's offside. Fredericks, again, I don't want to say stupid challenge. I want to say he has to make that challenge, because I do feel as if Martial had knocked the ball forward, not too heavy, but I feel like Fabianski might have had a chance. And obviously, when Fredericks is coming in from the back to get the ball, it's going to be a penalty. He's going through he's having to come around to tackle him, so it's going to be a penalty. So I don't feel like he had to make the challenge, but I do believe it was offside. Officiating wise, yeah. I'm losing faith really in the FA and the Premier League and the officials in this league. And I know we'll have VAR next season, and I know decisions like this will sort of be mopped up and helped, but it just, I don't understand how teams outside of the top six are supposed to, you know, make their way up the league or just, you know, have a chance of progressing as a football club and getting into sort of the Champions League, Europa League places when there is such a bias and protection on the top six clubs. And it's not just one game a season. It's not just two or three. There is just handfuls and handfuls and bucketfuls of games. You know, the Liverpool game, offside. The goal for Azpilicueta the other week against Cardiff, offside. Today for us, two decisions have gone against us, and it's cost us all 3 points. And I know there will be some older people that will believe that it will ruin the speed of the game, but you can clearly see today that we have just been robbed of all 3 points, and it is so disheartening. Like, I'm not angry with our performance. I might seem deflated when I'm talking about it, but I'm more just deflated because the boys have put in such a shift today, and we deserve to come away with all 3 points. But yet that's been taken away because of somebody else's decisions. And for me, I know sometimes we have to be, you know, like you like to side with the officials sometimes because, you know, it is difficult. It is difficult to call those split-second decisions and to see those, you know, decisions between the lines. But there is so much protection on these refs that they're able to just make these decisions and cost teams the points. But we just accept it because it's the top six clubs. And for me, I just, you know, I am deflated, and I just don't know what to say sometimes. You know, it's disheartening. And today we have been cost all 3 points by the officiating, and it's just, yeah, what more can you say?
I think for me, it's when I talk about defending them, it's less because I think they made the right decisions, and outwardly I would still sort of semi-defend them even if I think they made the wrong decisions. It's that they're not helped. I've been a big person on VAR for a while. I think it should have been introduced before already. I think the more we help the referees in this context, because they do have to make a split-second decision in front of however many, 75,000 people today, everyone else, millions watching at home, and then it's harsh on them because they are a person, they will make mistakes. Why do we and the FA specifically, like you say, not help them?
Do you know what really pisses me off more than anything is that when there is decisions like this that go against us, why aren't the referees held to account? Why can't they be scrutinised? Why can't a manager go into the tunnel after the game and say, the referee there has robbed us of the points? Why was it that the Neil Warnock the other week, as much as I hate him for, you know, Tevez and all that, but why is he not allowed to go and criticise and say to the officials, actually, you know, you were wrong for the decision you made against us? Because if you do, what do? You get a fine or a touchline ban, or you get something that goes against you. Why are these officials not held to account? The referees can make mistakes week after week after week, but they will be back in charge again at another Premier League at the top level. This is the best league in the world, and they will be in charge of another game next week. And it sickens me to the stomach that they're able to just get away with it time and time and time again, but nobody bats an eyelid. And I think what's worse is that BT Sport on their replays, nobody talked about the offside for Martial, for if Rashford touched the ball or not. It's almost like the television companies, and I don't want to get too conspiracy theory here because I don't want to do that, but it's almost like for the top clubs in the Premier League to succeed, they need referees on side, they need the television companies on side, and do you know what I mean? It's something stinks about the whole thing, and I just don't understand personally why refs aren't held accountable as they are. If it was me and somebody was in charge and we were doing it the right way about it, that ref would be dropped and he wouldn't play, and he would say, go away, study, learn what you did wrong, and then come back. You know, and I just, again, I'm sure Pellegrini must be spitting feathers and laughing at what the decisions made, but he can't say anything because he'll get in trouble for it, you know, and it just, to the stomach, it just sickens me. And, you know, they've just cost us today. There's no two ways about it. You know, you're trying to say the same things over and over again because I'm frustrated, but it is just absolutely disgusting.
And that's the thing, is it's when you talk about costing people, because it's in our situation where we're sort of mid-table, we could finish 7th, but it doesn't seem likely, and all this other stuff, you know, on a game-by-game basis, it costs you. But at the very top, or when you're fighting for a position, or at the very bottom, it can cost you Premier League survival. It can cost you Champions League football. It can make huge ramifications, and that's why whenever we do previews, and it's not myself who's on something, it's Gio who's hosting, Gio always brings up the ref and speaks about the ref, and I think it's something that needs to be spoken about more, because they do decide the game. The way a ref officiates a game decides it, from making a split-second decision that can go the right way or can go the wrong way, can change a game, just as equally as them at the beginning of the game, for example. Sorry, I'll let you speak in a second, but when there's a harsh challenge go in, if the way, say in 5 minutes, harsh challenge goes in, the way the referee deals with that dictates how the rest of the game not only is refereed, but how the players act towards each other. It's a huge part of the game that I think goes, I think goes past most people. People look at Mike Dean and go, "Oh, Mike Dean's crap," but they don't speak about it in sort of more precise terms. And I think that's something that the game needs to evolve. And I'm just hoping that the VAR, although we'll still have these mistakes because it is human error, will at least change something. Go on, Tom.
Sorry for interrupting you. I think it's a subject that is, I think most football fans are passionate about, because we only want to see a game called right. And I just, it shocks me that it was the same lino twice that made the wrong decision. But I just wanted to say, I know this is the Man United review, and I don't want to sort of think, oh, why are you speaking about Cardiff and Chelsea and stuff and other teams and stuff? But ultimately, those 3 points, it could have done wonders for Cardiff's season. It is the difference between being relegated from the Premier League and staying in the Premier League. And for us, results went our way earlier, and it was a chance for us to go back up and push into those European spots. That's it probably for us now. Our season's going to be potentially over. There's only a couple of games left. We've got a hard trip to Spurs in a couple of weeks. We've got the Leicester game coming up. But it is the difference between European football and not for us. And for a club like West Ham, we don't expect to be, fighting at the top of the table every year. But it stinks when it's year after year decisions that go against us constantly. You go back into when Slav was in charge in his first season. Somebody did, if offside goals, red cards, and everything hadn't gone against us, we'd have finished second in the league that year. And I'm just totally disheartened, and I've just lost all faith in the officials. I mean, I've never really had any anyway, but I just cannot understand why they didn't implement, why people didn't vote for VAR to be in this league this year. You cannot have at the top of the game not have VAR in use. Everywhere in the world, all the top leagues now, in Italy, in Germany, in Spain, they've all got VAR. Why not the Premier League? Why did we have to vote against it this year? And it is just, it baffles me that the top league in the world is you can't get basic simple decisions right, and it just is the difference for most games in the Premier League now, especially when it's the top 6 against other clubs.
And if there are any Man United fans watching, obviously do let us know in the comments what you thought about it. But you might be frustrated. It sounds like we're moaning. Don't worry, it might just get worse. I'll say about this about Fredericks as well. I think Fredericks maybe could do better with that thing. Just to go back to it very briefly, I feel like he goes down too easily in general, I feel. And I think in that situation, you probably try and harry Martial. You've got the pace to catch him. You're Ryan Fredericks. I think you probably harry him and try to put him off, as opposed to going for a slide challenge, which didn't really have many hopes of succeeding. And it's given away a penalty. It might have ended up in a goal, but then again, so was a Pogba penalty. The rest of the game sort of petered out a little bit. There were some chances here and there. Phil Jones got absolutely destroyed by Declan Rice's elbow, reminiscent of
got a dent in his head now.
Massive dent in his head. Absolute massive gash above the eyebrow there. And then, yeah, it sort of tempered out. There were a couple of little chances here and there. Ends Man United 2, West Ham 1. Tom, how did you feel about how Pellegrini set up?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought tactically it was brilliant. Every decision he made in terms of subs, in terms of, just the way that he set the game up, I thought it was perfect. And, that might argue that United weren't at their best today. They were missing some players. And if they'd have had certain players, then, they might have performed better. But, we could only do what Pellegrini set out. And I don't think he got it right against Chelsea, but I think he did today. And I just thought we were completely hard done by. I thought we absolutely dominated the game in periods, and ultimately we should have won. But, Pellegrini is sometimes questioned for his tactics, but I think today it's I think he did absolutely everything right.
Yeah, I agree. I think he learnt the lessons from Chelsea. I think he should have known the lessons pre-hand. He should have known exactly what was going to happen. But at least he learnt that lesson, and we set up correctly today. And I think even his substitutions, I think by and large turned out to be correct. I think it was a bit, he had a bit difficult, and obviously his hand was forced with no strikers in the squad apart from Hernandez. But I think he set up correctly, and we outplayed Man United in a lot of ways, and I think that's great. Tom, is there any individual performances you want to pick up, either positive or negative, from West Ham side?
Declan Rice, Declan Rice, Declan Rice, Declan Rice. I'm just so annoyed that it's come against Man United, because now they've seen firsthand what he can do. And for anybody that doubted why this kid is the hottest talent in that position in world football, there's it today. That is it. He is just without a doubt one of the best defensive midfielders I've ever seen at West Ham. The kid is special. The kid is so special. The way he breaks up plays, he chases down, the way he drops in between the centre halves when he needs to, the way he always looks to go forward with the ball. His defensive mindset, I keep saying it, it is just... It is Bobby Moore-esque. He reads the game so well for someone of such a young age, and he is so composed. And he completely outshined Pogba. He completely outshined that whole Manchester United midfield. And I don't care if we lost today, but how you can't give him man of the match after that performance, I just don't know. But every single week, his price is just going like that. And once again today, he was a standout best player on the pitch by a country mile. And I think there was a couple of other ones. I thought Masuaku actually coming in at left back, I thought he was brilliant today. I think he does deserve a lot of criticism he gets sometimes for his defensive work. But you can clearly see when we go forward, the crosses that he was whipping in, and that all game down that left-hand side, I thought he was brilliant. Fabianski, again, made a crucial save to keep us in the game. And I think Robert Snodgrass as well, I thought he ran his socks off today. Obviously, sometimes technically, or, he's not the fastest player on the pitch sometimes, but he just puts in his shift 110%. And always, last season, he was questioned by other fans, but I don't think you can, complain about his commitment this season. He's been one of our better players when he has played. But yeah, for me, just Declan Rice is he's head and shoulders above anyone in that team, in that midfield. And I just hope we can keep holding him for another season. Like I said, it come at such a wrong time that we played against Man United, because now they can see, and obviously they've been linked with him. But yeah, what a player, what a ball. What a ball! What a ball! What a boy! What a boy!
What a boy! What a boy!
What a boy.
I feel like Fabianski, again, I don't think he did like a huge amount today, but when he was called upon, that Rashford chance specifically, he shows why I think he's by far and away the best goalkeeper outside the top six. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And when you think we only got him for 7 million, when you consider how little we've invested in that position for a long, long time, he's by far one of the best goalkeepers.
Oh, he's our most expensive ever goalkeeper, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah. And do you know? I'd even argue he's better than some keepers in the top six. I don't have an issue with saying he's better than Hugo Lloris. I just don't. I think he might be better than 2 or 3 of those keepers in the top six. Like even for Arsenal, for Chelsea, I don't think Kepa's been all that. I think he just is probably one of the top 3 keepers in the league, and I might get some flack for that, but don't care. Don't care. Yeah. Just think he is.
And I think it's that thing where you talk about keepers at the highest level and they don't have many opportunities to shine. So when the opportunity does come once or twice a match, you have to pull off something incredible. Fabianski does that. His concentration doesn't dip. I love Adrian to pieces as a person, but my God, that man can sometimes make mistakes. And yet Fabianski is just solid as they come. And today he wasn't called upon a huge amount, but when he was, he stepped up absolutely brilliantly. And I think the 2 penalties shows really the only way they were actually going to get past that for him. I also think we should speak about Anderson. I think Anderson probably had his best game.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course, yeah.
He's had his best game he had for a while. I don't think he was man matched by it, really. I think there's someone who I'm going to mention, who Tom's already mentioned who it's going to be. But I think he had a fantastic, not a fantastic. I think he had a good game. I think he played well. I think he deserved his goal. I think he deserved the first goal as well. And I think if that's a platform for him to build for the rest of the season, I really hope so, because he got close to that sort of Anderson we saw in the first half of the year, maybe not so much in the second half. And then I think, again, Lanzini, we both mentioned it, but that second half, he started to look really good. First half was really frustrating again. Same thing as we've seen from him before since he's come back. But he, at least in that second half, stepped up, and that ball to Anderson was absolutely brilliant. Tom, give us your final thoughts and then your man of the match as well.
I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, a little bit.
We've been happy about performances. We've been we've been critical. We've said what we need to say about the officials. So it's on to Leicester. Hope that we can pick 3 points up. But don't get me wrong. Obviously, we've had a little complaint about some things, but I think that we deserved so much more from the game today. And it's frustrating because I know we can play like this. If we wanted to play like this week in, week out, or for more consistently, 20, 25 games a season, we could be a lot higher up the table than what we are. But obviously with injuries and inconsistency sometimes with us, it's been frustrating. But I mean, it gives us some good signs, I guess, going into Leicester next week. But it's been a frustrating day, but a weird one. You don't often come out of a game feeling sort of happy with the way you performed and you lose. But today I think is a time that we can be happy.
Yeah, very much so. I agree. And it's that word deserve. It's just frustrating when you come out of it thinking you deserve at least a point and to get nothing because of the way the officials happen. Sometimes it goes like that. That's the way football is. I like to, in my head, say to myself that it balances out over the course of the season. I don't think it does for West Ham United, unfortunately.
Nah.
But it is what it is. We move on. And I think actually it's a good platform to build on for the rest of the season and hopefully do something. Man of the match, obviously, Declan Rice. What a lad.
Can I give my man of the match?
Go on, I did ask you for it and you didn't say it. So if anything, I should punish you for this. But go on, do say it.
No, yeah, Declan Rice, yeah. And wait, hang on, wait. Maisie, wag your tail if you think that the officials are corrupt. Wait, wag your tail if you think the officials are. Yes, they are. Even the dog thinks it. The dog knows. Maisie knows. They are, aren't they? They're corrupt. Yes, they are. There you go.
Like Paul the Octopus before her, she's come through and given us divine intervention on Premier League officiating. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. We'll be back for the preview for the next game and all the other videos in between. Gio and Gonzo should be back by then. Who knows? I don't know. We don't know. But they should hopefully be because you don't want to be stuck with us for the rest of the time. For young Tom and myself, I'd like to thank you for watching and we will see you next